My wife is extraordinary because it takes a strong, intelligent, patient woman to put up with me for 10 years.
The most extraordinary woman I think in my life is actually my mom. I come from a single parent home, and she raised us with everything that she had, and she was so sacrificing and loved us so deeply. She was willing to work 5 jobs so that we were able to go to school, and she was willing to go out of her way to show us what it meant to love others through and through, even if that meant giving up everything that's comfortable to just embrace a life of servanthood. So I think my mom's probably she models just the love of Christ more than anyone I've ever met in my life. So I definitely say an extraordinary woman is my mother.
My wife is an extraordinary woman because she has 2 amazing kids. My kids, she puts up with us. She has served her country in the armed forces and done 2 tours overseas, and is an all-around just amazing woman.
Sometimes the most frustrating part about being on the road and going from hotel to hotel is that when you find a really beautiful one, you just want to stay there forever. And the hotel we stayed at in Gatlinburg was just like that. It was beautiful, and we had a room overlooking the mountains, and it was one of those places I never wanted to leave. But we had other places to be, so we got back in the van and took off. With Woody. And Woody, what are we going to be doing today?
So we're going to go zipping in the morning. We have 11 lines. We're going to go up in the canyon. It'll be a zip line adventure. We'll come back and have lunch, and then we'll go whitewater rafting on the Pigeon River this afternoon. There's 2 sections of the river. There's the upper section and there's a lower section. Okay. The lower is for families and the upper is high adventure, and yeah, you guys are going to be on the upper.
Nice. All right.
And then when we go zipping, we're going to cross the river twice. The first time we're going to be 80 feet off the water and go like 400 feet. We're going to go up in the canyons and we're going to do a lower. And then we're going to come back. We're going to run the big zip at the end, which is about 1,500 feet long. You're going to be 120 feet off the river, and it's really cool to look down at the other rafters and wave kind of thing. All right. That's what we're going to be doing.
Okay,
so,
I like it.
Welcome. So we got to go ahead and get ready. We got some changing facilities here. Okay. We need closed-toed shoes, something for your glasses, and we'll meet you inside. We'll get everybody geared up.
All right, sounds good.
Welcome.
So what I want you to do is put 1 foot in each one of these leg loops here. Then you want to grab that black belt and just pull that, work that thing up over your hips, guys. It's going to be like an awkward pair of shorts. And guys, the first thing we're going to go to work on is the buckle here. It's off to your, you're going to see it's off to your right.
Our instructor, Mike, was a hoot. He even tried to recruit Sarah to work for them.
Pretty good, Sarah, not bad. Come here and get a summer job if you want.
All right.
All right.
This is the 3rd time on our trip that I have had to wear a harness. And let me just say, it does not get any easier putting them on, and they do not get any more comfortable unless you have an amazing instructor. And Mike was a top-notch professional, and he made us feel really safe, and we knew that we were going to have a fun day out zipping.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's one thing that's always a constant in our lives: relationships. And it's so important for young women to understand healthy versus unhealthy relationships. Now, healthy relationships are ones that are going to uplift us. And it's a lot like choices, you know, it's gonna bring love and unity and peace to our lives. And an unhealthy relationship is one that's gonna cause us to compromise what we believe. It's gonna hurt us. And at the end of the day, we're not gonna be too happy when we're in those unhealthy relationships. So what do you do if you find yourself in an unhealthy relationship? You really need to think, is this person lifting me up? Are they loving me in the right way? Am I getting good things from their friendship? And if the answer is no, then you really need to see if that's a relationship that you should still be in. And if not, you might have to part ways. And it might be awkward. It might be a little bit scary sometimes when you pull away from people, but it's ultimately going to be the best thing for you. And if you're in those healthy relationships, that's awesome. Keep cultivating them. Keep putting things into them, because in all relationships, we get out what we put in. I love the story of Ruth and Naomi, and it's one about relationships and love and sacrifice. And they have such a beautiful and special relationship that I think we all, when we read it, want in our lives. And so as I read this, really think about the relationships that you have. It's found in Ruth 1, verse 16 through 17. But Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me." I have been ziplining exactly one other time in my life, and that was in Louisville. And it was down in a cavern, cave type thing, and it was pretty crazy. And on top of that, they stopped you. And we went ziplining this time. It was outdoors, and I had to stop myself. Needless to say, I was a little bit nervous about that one because I definitely didn't want to get stuck in the middle out there, and I definitely didn't want to run into our instructor. But thankfully, everything went fine.
Okay, turn around and kind of pull yourself up. There you go.
I got it.
There we go. Perfect.
Look at you guys.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to grab it.
Thank you, because
Okay.
I can't see out of my
I know, there you go. It's on group. That's it.
I did.
You're like, where am I going? Where am I
I
going?
couldn't see.
Yeah,
There we go. Okay.
All right, then just step down. Well, when she spun, it hit, and it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always tell people that on the river, if you're scared, just pull it down over your eyes.
No,
Go way down. There we go. Clear.
Awesome. I know about halfway through, I'm like, I lost it. I don't know. Everything went dark.
So ziplining. You would think I'd have the hang of it after ziplining through a cavern, but it was completely different today. We get out there, we're basically doing it on our own, we're in control of it. And you think you have so much time from point A to point B, but you don't. And so you soak in everything as fast as you can amid screaming and waving and, flailing around for a bit. But you just look at nature and it was beautiful. We're in the mountains and there's trees and rivers. It was pretty stunning. So amid screaming, I was definitely enjoying the view.
on down.
Oh my word. I feel torn between two places. So fun. Is it awesome, guys?
My name is Carla Ives, and I am the founder of Heart Cry International. My story should be very different than what it is. I started out growing up with a very sick father. When I was about 9 years old, there was a very bad day when my father was taken by ambulance to the hospital, and my sister and I were sent to the neighbors because my mom didn't know what else to do. She had to go with my dad. And when we got there to the neighbors, they weren't home, but their older son, who was about 18 years old, was. And he brought my sister and I into the home and took us in his bedroom and showed us pornography and began to teach us how to do things that no child should know how to do. And I remember going to church on a Sunday morning and talking to the Sunday school teacher, and I told her finally, after all the other students had left, what had happened to me and what this boy was doing and how afraid I was. And she just patted my hand and with a very bland face said, "Well, Carla, you just be a really good little girl, and someday you're going to grow up and everything will be different and you'll get to go to heaven." I can remember walking away, and I had to go into like the super church room, and as I was walking into that room, I'm thinking, but why pray and why read my Bible and memorize all these verses and come to church if he's far away and he doesn't even care? One night when I was 16, I was still a good girl. I'd had a few times where I'd tried alcohol, and that particular night I ended up shuttling some people to a party. I didn't know it was going to be a party. Got to the house, everybody went inside, took my keys from me, went inside, everybody's getting stoned. It was at the house of one of the kids who lived in a foster home, and the foster mother was gone on a trip, so foster dad was hosting the party, actually, for this teenage boy. And after everybody had kind of gotten drunk and they all went to their rooms, he was getting very fresh with me. I tried to leave. He took my keys and put them down his pants. So I went and hid in the bathroom, got away from him, went in the bathroom. I was thinking I was going to go out the bathroom window, but it was one of those small little rectangle ones. I remember sliding down the bathroom door and crying because I realized I was stuck. And after it was quiet for a while, I cracked open the door and looked, and he was, looked like he was sleeping in a chair, like he'd passed out. So I thought, I'm leaving my car. I'm just gonna get out of here. And I started tiptoeing across to the front door, and he came off the chair, he was just faking it, and jumped me. And then that was the end. And so in the morning, I messed up. So I just walked away and hardened my heart. And I went out in the field behind our house, shook my fist at heaven and said, "All right, God, I still believe you exist. I'm not positive, but if you do, I'm going to hurt you back just this much of what you've done to me. I'm done with you." And I started doing drugs that very next week and partying, and barely graduated high school. It was a total train wreck. Was pretty lost, just lost and not knowing what to do with myself, and flunked out of college, just lost. And then just a series of events began to bring me to Jesus, just small little things. And I finally dug out this Bible that had been given to me at my graduation and started reading it. And once I started reading it, I was devouring it. And I began to find my way to God. And one night I went to a missions conference, and afterwards my husband and I were invited to go out with all these missionaries that had been on the field 20, 30, 40 years, and we're talking with them, and they're talking about the epidemic problems of children all over the world and the nations where they're working. And the story that gripped my heart was from Brazil, where they shared that shopkeepers were hiring gunmen to go out at night and shoot street kids down like they're dogs because they just are tired of being stolen from, and these kids are a nuisance. So just like you'd see a stray dog or a rat and shoot it, that's what they were doing with these children. The children meant nothing. And up from my heart, I said to them, "Well, what are you doing about it?" And this silence came at the table. They asked me, "Well, what should we do? What are your suggestions?" I didn't have any. But as we sat there, up from my spirit came an idea. that is now Heart Cry International. It was then called Reach the Children of the World Ministries. I wrote it down on the back of a placemat after I'd finished sharing the vision that was coming to me as I was sitting there. Took it back to the hotel room. My husband and I prayed over it. We knew that God was changing our course in some way that day. And it's been quite a journey with Jesus. To be an extraordinary woman, you don't have to be extraordinary. You can just be yourself. And when I talk to young women now, one of the things I like to encourage them is remember that you're not your calling. There's you and there's your calling. Don't ever stop being a woman. Don't ever stop taking care of yourself. Don't ever stop being fun. Don't let the calling kill the person that you are. But stay alive to Jesus. Maintain your vibrant time with Him. Don't let the calling consume so much of your time and so much of your life that you have nothing left. Live in the moment. The theme scripture of my life is from Romans 8:28, that He works all things together for our good. All. He works all together for our good. That means my mistakes, my disappointments, my absolute failures, turns everything around for good. And so because of that, I know I don't have to be depressed. I don't have to be discouraged. I don't have to be afraid. Whatever life brings my way, I know that God will turn it around for good. So if I were to again say to a young woman, how do you be extraordinary? Just be yourself and remember that God's got your back, that He's going to work everything out in your life okay in the end. If you'll just love Him and just serve Him, He will make your ordinary extraordinary.
There are several things on my maybe bucket list. Indoor skydiving was one. Let's see what else was on there. Zip lining was one. And whitewater rafting was the other. I never actually thought that I would do it, but with a little bit of encouragement from others and meeting our guide, I knew that it was the right call to go. And it was one of the best experiences that I've ever had, hands down. Even more so, because I think I said this, that indoor skydiving was way cool. I think whitewater rafting takes the cake.
Here's what whitewater rafting means to me. It means that I am sitting there with one of my best friends, and every time we get in one crazy ride and the current is going nuts, we are laughing. When I say laughing, it's not just like, it's like downright just crazy laughing. I think there were tears in my eyes at one point, and we had an absolute blast, and I cannot wait to do it again.
there to say after that?
We got in the water.
We did, voluntarily. We did not fall in,
We didn't
which
fall
is
in.
a really big success. And
We just saw some North Carolina, Tennessee beauty right there.
yeah,
And screamed and
yeah.
laughed the entire time.
it was amazing. I'll definitely be going back.
Me too.
You're watching Jenny Seeking the Extraordinary. After making some new friends and having a blast on the river, we headed to Asheville in search of a great meal.
I used to live in Asheville, North Carolina, and we are back in my stomping grounds, and I get to show Jenny around. So I lived in Asheville for about a year and a half, and I was a marketing manager for a retirement community, so that kept me pretty busy. And one of my favorite things to do here is I get to enjoy the outdoors. It's stunning. It's right in the mountains. You can go hike on the Blue Ridge Parkway within 5 minutes of basically anywhere. And their food and their music is phenomenal. So I absolutely have nothing but great things to say about Asheville.
Sarah and I had a great surprise in Asheville. Our friend Mel drove all the way from Georgia just to have dinner with us. She is one of the kindest, most genuine, and funniest people that I know. The three of us walked around the city for a while, and then we started getting really hungry. So we found a really cool restaurant to just sit down, fellowship, and have a really good meal.
It has been so fun being back in Asheville, exploring and eating yummy food, and now I'm so ready to relax.
I know, it's been amazing being here and having you, see, you show us where you live and just being a part of your life at one point. And after a very long day, it was a fun day, but it was a very long day. It's nice to sit down and relax and just kind of reflect on all that we've done. And I'm reminded of Carla's story and her sitting down and just sharing her heart and what she's had to overcome just from dealing with sexual abuse and just a rough childhood, and seeing what she's doing now and seeing where she's at and how she's overcome these difficulties, and she's dealt with the impossible circumstances that might have seemed like they'd never get better. And I'm sure dealing with those things as a young girl, she probably never thought she'd be ministering to, hundreds if not thousands of children around the world. It's incredible.
And I think you're going through these situations, and we've all been through impossible circumstances, and we can't help but ask why. God, why me? Or why this? Or why?
Yeah.
And it rings to me, someone told me this a long time ago, and they said, the tears that you cry today will be your ministry tomorrow. And it's exactly what Carla's doing with her life. She's changed and turned around those circumstances in her life when she was younger, and she's ministering to people that truly need her.
Yeah, and that just goes to show, you can take it from her life and apply it to your own, that no matter what you've come through, no matter what you're dealing with right now, it doesn't mean that your future is doomed. you know, there's always a bright light. You know, like you can accomplish great things in spite of your impossible circumstances now. It is not often that we have a special surprise guest here on the show, but we have a treat for you. Our very special friend Melody is here. Hey, Mel.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
I have been asked to share some of my favorite, or at least one of my favorite things about each one of these girls. I know them because I played basketball with them, balled it up. Sometimes we won, sometimes we lost, but we always had fun, and that's what matters. Something that I think I've always admired in Wosh, we called her Wo, or Woshi, and Wosh is always, she's very teachable. She's humble enough that if you tell her that she needs to change something, or if you present something to her, she's open and she accepts it, and not in like a haughty or she doesn't put up a lot of walls against it. She'll chew on it, and you'll see the changes afterwards. If you bring something and she realizes I do need to change this in my life. So you're very humble, very teachable.
Oh.
Yeah. Jeni, something I've always liked about Jeni is that she's able to take herself out of a situation to be able to look into it. She's able to look at something in a logical way, and I think that she's able to make wise choices because of that. So I think she's been given to a good wisdom. She's been given a lot of wisdom in your life. And I think that's really great because she's able to use that to disciple and spread that with this show and with the books that she's writing and whatnot.
Thank you, Mel.
These are two incredible women.
Aww. Thanks, Mel.
Love you guys.
Love you.